I'm going to do a video about what's on the bench. I figured I might as well spend a couple minutes and give you a quick tour of the workbench space. Starting here, this is the main workbench where I do the majority of the modeling, whether it's assembling rolling stock, structures, working on locomotives. You can see I have a test track here that's connected to an MRC power pack as well as to an NCE ProCab system, which I can switch back and forth between with the toggle switch. So I can do some testing of locomotives, hook up the JMRI Decoder Pro via USB interface, program the decoders, so on and so forth. But I have my tools here, just recently organized. In fact, if you watch the intro to this series, you'll notice that it's completely different. I actually was looking for something to organize the tools, and I found this buried amongst the stuff in the other portion of the garage. So I'm going to give these a try, see if it'll help organize my tools and give me a little more space. Another thing that I want to mention, and you can't really tell at the moment, is right back here is a Windows Surface Pro laptop that actually belongs to my oldest son, but he stopped using it several years ago. So I'm making use of it along with that spare monitor. Having this computer right next to the bench comes in extremely handy for looking at prototype photographs as I'm doing painting or weathering, researching projects, looking at instructions for kits that don't come with instructions. Very, very handy to have that there as a ready reference, much more usable to me than using my phone. Over here you can see there's storage underneath there, a variety of stuff, and then I've got some storage bins here that store a lot of the kit building, strip wood, styrene, that kind of stuff is stored in those drawers over there. Back over here on the workbench proper, you can see back here I picked up this paint organizer, the little drawers there, and it works pretty good. It has all the brushes stored there. It does help keep me a little more organized. This desk is an old desk that I got from one of the places that I worked several years ago. They were getting ready to throw it away, so I grabbed it. In fact, all of the benches here in the workspace are from previous employers. So next to the main bench, I have what I'll call my secondary bench, for lack of a better term. And this is just an additional workspace that I can use. Typically I use this bench for quick projects, just something that I'm trying out. I don't really use it for assembling models. I did use it when I was putting together just a quick and dirty diorama, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Those of you who have any familiarity with the computer industry, you might recognize this as a 19-inch rack for servers, then I just use it for shelving storage space. High power soldering iron, drill bits, got the Dremel tool and all the bits there. I've got the drill motor, charger, some miscellaneous scenery items. And way up there at the top you can see I've got some foam boards, some hydrocloud plaster, and some Sculptamold stored up there at the moment. Continuing around from here, we see the paint booth area. Now that paint booth is not vented yet. That is on plan. I want to get it vented, but right now I just use it for only acrylic paints. I'm not doing any enamels. So while it would still be a good idea to vent it through a filter, I'm not too worried about at least fumes or noxious fumes or anything like that. And up here you can see I've got a variety of primers and X21 Tamiya flat base and airbrush cleaner. Down here, I don't know if I showed that, I've got the airbrush compressor. It's sitting in that box because it tends to wander around less when it's on than if I don't have it in that box. I don't know why exactly, but if it's not in the box, it really moves across the floor when it's running. And then here, if I can zoom in, this is that diorama that I mentioned that I built. This quick and dirty. It's not done yet. I'm still working on it, but I ordered those trees off of eBay. Then you have to assemble them. They worked pretty good actually. I actually quite like them. So, and that caboose is a kit that I built and messed around with. So, and then finally, as we continue even farther around, we come to the, I'll move the camera here, pardon. We see the electronics bench, and this is where I do anything electronics related, the Arduino stuff that I work on. This is where I can do any soldering that I might need to do. I've got a bunch of test equipment, power supply, anything that I might need to try and work on anything electronic. I've got a desoldering station over here if I'm going to mess around with surface mount products. So anyway, that's a quick tour of the workbench area. Welcome to What's on the Bench here at the Switch List. For this episode, I'm going to go ahead and tackle the project that has been in progress for the longest period of time. I built this structure probably back, I built the kit and I finished it to the point that you see it here. And so now I want to go ahead and do the few remaining things that I need to do in order to call this kit done, mark it off the list, and move on. And that's primarily just going to consist of weathering it. However, I did notice as I'm looking at it that I do have to, I need to paint the edges of the cardstock that was used for the roof. So I'm going to take some, to do that I'm going to use some Precision Design Model Weathered Black from Badger. And I'll take that and with a small brush I will paint that, and then from there I will move into the weathering. For the weathering, I'm going to use pastel chalks, and here I have a variety pack that I got off of Amazon for, I think it was maybe $10, maybe a little bit more, I really don't remember, but it wasn't a lot of money. And here I clearly have more colors than I need. In addition to that, I'm going to use a couple of brushes here, and these are, you can see these are very short bristle brushes. In fact, this one was a little bit longer, but I went ahead and clipped it down to give it a little more stiffness in the brush. So I'm going to use these two brushes and these pastel chalks. And what I like to do when I'm doing pastel chalk weathering is I want to pick out a couple of colors that I want to use. So in this case, I think I'm going to use this yellowish color, which will be used to try to simulate some mud and grime around towards the bottom of the structure where it sits at the ground. So what I like to do is I just take my hobby knife and then I just scrape some along it here to build up some little reservoir of the chalk. And I'm also going to do a little bit of brown. Finally, I'm going to take dark gray to blackish color. So these are the three colors I'm going to use primarily to do the weathering. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, and I'll go ahead and paint the edge of the roof here, get that done, and then we'll move on to the pastels. Okay, I think that's good. Got all the edges painted there with the weathered black. I'm going to give that just a minute or two to dry, and then we'll come back and start the chalk weathering. So I'm going to take my short bristle brush here, and I'm going to start with this color that I'm hoping to use. I'll load up some on my brush there. You can see a little better. And I'm going to start working down here at the bottom of the structure, really just trying to give it a muddied appearance where it's, on the ground, the rain causes the dirt to beat up against it, spattering all over the boards. Well, you can see a little bit there. Let's start. Try to simulate some streaking down from the windows as a result of the water running down. slapped it. It's still in pretty good shape, but clearly it's been sitting out in the weather for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and call that one done. Quick and easy, a little bit of paint to touch up and pastel chalks to add some texture. Now, because this is a structure and I won't be putting a clear coat on this, because the clear coat does tend to make most of your chalk work vanish, and which is rolling stock, that's pretty important that you seal it, because those tend to get handled probably more than we would like them to, but structures typically, once you set them on the layout, they don't get handled, so you don't have to worry too much about the chalks running off. So anyway, we're going to mark this speeder shed off on the list of things on the bench, and in the next episode we will move on to the next item. So with that, we're going to mark this one off the list of projects to be completed, and in the next episode of What's on the Bench we will tackle our next project. Thanks for watching, and I will see you down the rails.